Well, hi, folks. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. Thanks for logging on here to my latest Long Ranger. First off, I just want to apologize if the video is jumpy at all today. I'm not feeling the greatest, so I may have to pause this and then resume it. See a little jumpiness, that's why. All right, so bear with me. All right, we got a fun little mess to track here, especially in the Ohio Valley coming up over the next couple of weeks. Pretty active winter pattern coming back up again, so let's dive into this. Several things that we could really track over the coming days. We got a little system potentially moving on Sunday that might have some flakes mixing in with it, but I would bank more on a cold rain at this point. Then we got another potential system here around the 8th that looks pretty decent, and we got another system coming in maybe around the 11th as well, and another beyond it, maybe around the 15th, 16th. So there's a lot to track here in the coming days. Lots of unknowns at this point, but here we go. Here's what we do know. First off, those of us here in the Ohio Valley, on Sunday we have another little rain system moving in. It doesn't look like a huge chance here. In fact, the GFS only gives us a little bit of some light rain out of this as we head into the afternoon hours. But you notice there are some snow issues up here to our north. I do think it's going to be above freezing. I think we're going to be in the upper 30s to low 40s around the area where it's raining here, and in southern Indiana here. And there's a chance that maybe we could see a wet snowflake or two mix in with this. I wouldn't rule it out. Some of the data has shown that, but I do think that pretty much most of the snow going to stay to the north. I'd bank more on a cold rain for us at this point than anything, but we will have to see. And that's why the Euro believes too. If we just put the Euro here into motion, keep in mind here this blue dashed line here with the 540 on it. This is the 540 thickness line. Folks, that's your typical rain snow changeover line. It doesn't always shake out to be that way, but it's a general rough guide with that. As I put this into motion, here is Sunday as we go into the afternoon hours, and you notice there it is. There's that 540 line cutting right through the half of Indiana there. So there's a chance for some snow as you head way up here and toward the north, especially towards the upper peninsula there, Michigan, parts of Wisconsin. Some issues still here with accumulating snow over northern Indiana because of surface temperatures being a little bit too warm there. But down here, pretty much just a cold rain for us, and not maybe a wet snowflake or two, but I wouldn't get too excited about it. As I said, temperature is going to be a little warm for us down here. Not really even much precipitation out of this, just a small chance. At any rate, that moves through pretty quickly. A better chance of some much needed rain coming through here about 7 a.m. here on Tuesday morning is what this is showing, and this is entirely a rain system, and this is great news, by the way, for the southeast. Some very much needed rain down there, some much needed rain down there where the wildfires are raging all over the southeast. All the tragedy that's going on there in the Smoky Mountains and how Gatlinburg was burned there. Some much more needed rain coming there. Hopefully can extinguish a lot of those wildfires there. But the low will track sort of right over us. We'll get a decent little amount of rain. And this is Tuesday. That's gone. No wintry mess out of that. Temperature's way too warm. Just a cold rain. And then you got the next system. This is going to come in on Thursday, December the 8th, and this is the one of interest that we've been tracking for a little while. So here's the low developing over the panhandle here of Texas. Just south of the panhandle. It's different on every run, but watch this low start to eject our way. As it does, you got a pretty healthy little swath of snow up in here. Changes over to snow for us, though, by later on Thursday afternoon. It's rain changing over to snow. Not a whole lot of snow with this, all right? And then as you move into December, maybe some residual snow showers on the back side of the low. Then as you get into about December the 11th, there's another little piece of energy, but the Euro has it way up to our north here. The GFS wants to take it down, as I'll show you in a second. So there's still a lot of questions here as you go through things. And there is, as later on to the 11th, there's a southern low that moves over here, and essentially what you got a piece to your north and a piece to your south. They don't phase up on the Euro, but you get just a little bit of snow issues there on the 11th for the Euro. So there's a couple of dates that we have to worry about. GFS shakes it out like this. Here we start off today. As we head into Sunday, there you got a little bit of light snow chances up to our north. Again, maybe a wet snowflake or two for us. Nothing to worry about. Just a cold rain pretty much. Then there's the rain for Tuesday. Again, some nice rain, much needed rain. And then here we go by the time you hit into Thursday. Notice what this does, though. Notice this, notice the GFS here developing the low pressure system back here in the panhandle rather than the Euro developing it down here and then tracking it up. Makes a difference in the track. There's the snow swath moving across Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois there, and then it's just rain as it starts off, but then changes to snow on the backside after the low is moving. Doesn't give us a heavy accumulation with this. Some residual snow showers, and then it's pretty much gone. Then we come into the 11th, and you've got the system diving down from the north up here. It's a little bit further of a dive to the south. The Euro had it up here, and then you got the same way the Euro is developing this low down here to the south, but they're kind of merging up a little bit. The GFS deepens that low a little bit, and we get a pretty decent little snowstorm over us around the 11th and the 12th time frame. Again, is that believable? Anything's possible, but it is one run. We'll just have to see. And then going beyond that, yes, another system around the mid-month, around the 15th, 16th, could bring us another little bout of wintry precipitation, according to the GFS. So it's a very active time coming here into the area. And then if you look at the Canadian model, and the Canadian model I think maybe makes more sense for this. Again, there's that precipitation, small chances there on Sunday, nothing to worry about. There's the rain on Tuesday, although it doesn't give us much rain. It delivers it more towards the south. Here's your system for Thursday, and that doesn't really make sense given the other two models. But this might be a good middle-of-the-line solution here. It develops the low here right over the Texas area. Watch the snow swath over there, some pretty decent-sized snows over here to, maybe parts of Kansas get included in on this, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois again. And again, as the low passes over us, we go from a rain, it changes us to sleet, and then over to some snow. On the back side of the system, it gives us a very minimal amount of snow. So is that a possibility? Yeah, that's a real possibility. I think there's a good chance that we could see some sleet in there mixing with it from time to time. And then it also sees something on the 11th as well, but it doesn't see it nearly to the amount you see. It doesn't develop the low down here to the south. It kind of keeps it undeveloped, and there it is, just a small two pieces of the puzzle still there, but not phased up at all, and neither one of them developed really fully like you do on the other two models. So, but folks, you live by the model, you die by the model. So we can't adjust a knee-jerk reaction to our forecast every single model run, because they're issued 4 times a day with the GFS, twice a day with the GEM, twice a day with the Euro. Every model run is going to be different, and I always say that the seasons provide a lot of chaos to the modeling. And excuse me. Apologies for the jumpiness there. Had to pause. Like I say, the seasons always provide a lot of jumpiness in the models. Seasonal changes always wreak havoc on the models. This is exactly what we're seeing, and it seems like it's more so this time around. There's a lot more model chaos this time around than what we normally see. We do know that signals are there. The Bering Sea rule suggests that we've got some signals moving through here around these time frames. So does the recurring Rossby wave train. So there's some other organic forecasting methods that I use that helps me to see that there's something here to track. But right now the modeling is having a tough time sorting it out, and it's going to be that way for a while. But nonetheless, here's kind of a synopsis of what I think your main two options are going to happen. Let's take off at this December 8th and 9th. I'm not even going to worry about the 11th and beyond, because it's going to highly depend on what we do with these two things first. Get a low that's going to develop here around the panhandle of Texas, or down in here, somewhere down in here. So we'll just have to see. Some of the models want to track it up more like this, which would give a pretty decent swath of accumulating snow up here. Some of the other models want to track it like this, which would give a pretty decent swath of accumulating snow right over us here in the Ohio Valley. Which one's going to be right? Well, we're just going to have to see. The other question is going to be how much of the cold air can be locked into place, and I'll talk about that here in a second. Let me just say this with the teleconnections. It's primed around that time frame for something big. Anytime, and I've said this in the past winters, I've said this in videos, anytime you go from sharply in the negative to sharply in the positive on your teleconnections in the matter of a day or two, you're primed right in that transition zone for a pretty decent sized storm. It's just, I've seen it work out that way many times. Here you go, the Arctic Oscillation going sharply negative to going to sharply positive over just a matter of a few days there. Same way with North Atlantic Oscillation, negative to positive over there. And look at the EPO, the East Pacific Oscillation, going from negative to sharply positive here and then back down. Very much a roller coaster ride for it. And again, right, all during this time frame of around December the 8th, December the 9th, somewhere right in there. So that's good. That's more further confirmation to me that we could have pretty decent little size storm system moving in, and I don't think the models are handling this well. Show you the model chaos, we get some epic snowstorms like this particular GFS run from a few days ago. This delivered just buckets and buckets of snow right here over the Ohio Valley. But then again, you've got a run right after that that came towards this, and buckets of snow came up here. I don't think this is the right solution. I'm not convinced that this is the right solution as far as amounts either, but we will just have to see. But some very wild solutions go from next to nothing, an inch or two here right over southern Indiana where I'm at, to buckets of snow and getting out the snow blowers. So wide varieties of solutions here, and it's even in the ensembles as well. I will say there is pretty decent ensemble support for this. If you look at the GEFS, the GFS ensembles, you can see here pretty decent little ensemble support. I'll take E14 for $400, please, Alex, if you want to play Jeopardy here. That would be great to me. Just burying us in snow here right over the Ohio Valley. But then you got, E19 looks pretty darn good to me too. I might even like that better. But then you got E20, which doesn't have much for southern Indiana. But, these are all individual members of the ensemble. The idea here, though, is, there's some support for snow. And not just in one run. This is the 0Z run last night. Here was the 6Z run last night, too. And again, it's sporadic all over the place, as you expect in the ensembles. That's why you have an ensemble mean. It takes all 20 of the individual ensemble members plus the control run and averages them out to a mean. And the idea here is the more perturbations that you have, the error can be averaged out over time and you come to a more reasonable solution. Snow still here with this particular run. And with that run, there's pretty good support for snow. Pretty good support for snow with this run too. So the idea is it's there. Yes, not everyone has a southern Indiana snowstorm. Several of them don't. Many of them do. So the idea is here, folks, we don't know what's coming yet at this point, but we know there is decent support for it. We do know also there's pretty decent support for some cross-polar flow to go on. Here's what's going to go on, and this may be even the bigger story than the snowstorm, and we need this if we're going to get the snowstorm, I will add to. Cross-polar flow, what is this? Well, you got high latitude blocking up here. Probably should have drew an H there. What this done, the high latitude blocking over the Alaska here, it forces the jet stream to buckle, and watch where the source is. The yellow is the tracing the source air down all the way from Siberia, crossing the North Pole region up here and going all the way down into the eastern part of the United States. That can deliver some very cold temperatures to us. Now, don't expect temperatures here to be in the sub-zero by any means. The air is going to be modified as it comes south. It's going to be cold. 20s and 30s certainly reasonable out of this. Could get some lows in the teens even with this as well. It's going to be cold air. Don't kid yourself with this. How long is it going to last? That's what's the question at this point. We just take a look at the temperature anomalies here. You can see that cold air coming down next week. We have some warm temperature anomalies here for early next week when that rainstorm moves in on Tuesday. But watch this. Watch the Arctic hammer just sort of drop here as it comes south. The EPS here, the Euro ensembles, the EPS suggests that it sticks around at least through the 12th, but it doesn't go out beyond that on this particular site. Well, let's go out to some longer range, the GFS ensembles. Here you go. There's a little bit of a warm trend next week when we get that rain move in on Tuesday, but watch the Arctic hammer drop here. And it sticks around for a good little while here. Not quite as brutal. You see the collars start to fade here, but the cooler regime sticks around here at least through the 15th. But watch this. As we head later into the month, we're starting to be replaced by a warmer regime. So the last half of December may be a little bit different than this first half. First half of December may be fairly on the cool side. Last half of December, there are some hints here that we could face some warm again. The GEPS, which is the Canadian ensembles, suggesting kind of the same thing. Watch the Arctic hammer sort of drop here as you go through this after this storm system on Tuesday rolls through. But it doesn't stick around forever. Watch this. By the time you get later into the period, you got some warming going on too as well. So very much believe that we are going to have this cross-polar flow and that we're going to get some cold air spill into the country next week. How long that stays in the country, well, that's very much in question. And just ending on this, folks, if you look at the CPC's prediction, both the 6 to 10 day and the 8 to 14 day show a lot of blue across the nation. So it's a fairly high degree of confidence. And good news down here too, the above normal precipitation for us as well. We need it here in southern Indiana, really throughout all of this. So, well, what can we say? Well, we can say we've got an active December coming. It looks like a lot of fun things to track, so keep it tuned right here to Southern Indiana Weather. We'll have some videos for you as you go forward. If you'd like more than just a couple of videos a week that I do here, and I do more videos whenever we get near to an active storm system, but I usually do just 2 videos a week otherwise beyond that. If you'd like more data, though, if you're on Twitter, go find me at SouthernINWX, and you can follow me for a lot of discussion on the model run and a lot of other things there. So be sure to follow me on Twitter, also on Facebook, facebook.com/Southern Indiana Weather. That's it for this update, folks. My latest edition of the Long Ranger. Take care, and we'll see you next time.